What if you spent 88% of your auction budget on 3 players? That's exactly what I'm going to do in this draft. $63 wide receiver, $57 wide receiver, and $56 running back. Everything else, basically $1. This is the 3-man army strategy, and this team is either winning the league or completely imploding. Hey everyone, I'm Leonard B Fantasy, and today we're doing another live auction mock draft going for an extreme stars and scrubs build. I'm going to spend $176 on just 3 players and see how good of a team we end up with. Let's take a look at the breakdown. As you can see, $200 budget, and we are spending a lot of money on top 2 wide receivers. We're going to spend $120 to get a wide receiver 1 and a wide receiver 2, but really these are both going to be wide receiver 1s, and we're good to go up to $56 for my RB1. The biggest hole in this build is $9 at RB2, but again, this is a thought experiment, so we're going to try this out and see how it goes. Let's get right on into the draft and see if we can make something out of this. Again, we are going $63 for wide receiver 1, $57 for wide receiver 2, and $56 for running back 1. Some targets: Ja'Marr Chase, Puka Nacua, Jonathan Taylor potentially for running back. Amon-Ra St. Brown is definitely a target. Basically, any of these guys right in this range. We're really looking to get 3 first-round picks with this strategy and then just wait out the rest of the draft. And there goes Jahmyr Gibbs. All right, straight to 73, we're out. It's as simple as that. We're probably going to do a lot of sitting around on this draft after we pick up our players. So I'm really just going to skip around and cut through all the players. We're not going to have as many nominations. Bijan, 65, we're out. I mean, it's really just as simple as that. I mean, 65 for Bijan is a really good price. This is definitely a spot where I'm probably price enforcing, but not have to worry about it. Again, in a real draft, I would be price enforcing there on Bijan. This is an experiment. We're trying to see what we can build with this 3-man army strategy. There's Ja'Marr Chase. All right, let's see if we can grab. Okay, $68 is outside of our price range that we budgeted for Ja'Marr Chase. That's just way too much money, honestly, for Ja'Marr here. So I'm going to let that slide, and we will try to make one of these other wide receivers our wide receiver 1. Puka Nacua, straight to $68. Okay. We're going to have to pass on Puka here too. So now it looks like Amon-Ra St. Brown and JSN are probably like our 1-2 punch. Man, this is a tough call for nomination. So again, this is where you really want to think about who is a cornerstone of our strategy. A $57 guy. I think we're going to go Amon-Ra, and we're going to put him up for $50. See what the interest is. Wow, Jim is just spending money like crazy. Jim is just bidding people. I mean, he spent 68 for Puka. He spent 62 for Amon-Ra. I mean, we have 63. I'll push it to 63 here for Amon-Ra. I don't love that price. Wow, 66. I mean, good luck. So now it's starting to get interesting because there's really not a lot of like tier 1 wide receivers. Justin Jefferson to me is like the absolute fall off of the upper echelon of top tier wide receivers. I don't even have CeeDee Lamb in that category, in my opinion, personally. Like, I would have JSN and Justin Jefferson being our only 2 guys worthy of $63. Even Amon-Ra, I wanted him as like a $57 guy. So this would be interesting. I mean, Devontae Adams comes up. Another interesting choice there. He's going to go for way more than he should. Right now, he's averaging $11. He's already at $13. This is why you don't put up your middle round guys early, because people will be willing to overspend. They have that extra money. Ashton Jeanty is a very interesting pickup right now because of that ankle injury. I mean, people thought he was done for the season, and now all of a sudden he might have sounds like a low ankle sprain. So, yeah, super interesting pickup that we could potentially get there with Ashton Jeanty for a pretty big discount. He's been going for anywhere between like $50 to $55. Now his projection is 44 and his average is 47. So clearly he's taken a big hit, which might be a steal because guys like Kenneth Walker, Chase Brown, I've seen them going way higher than we would expect. Jonathan Taylor, this is probably our shop for an RB1 for 56, but $68. I mean, Jim and Hyas are just spending money. And of course, they're the guys on auto draft. In an auction draft league, if this is how your draft is playing out, where everybody's going over projections, that's the new market. You just have to accept that. And this CD Lamb price, compared to everybody else, is not horrendous. But again, I don't think that CD Lamb is a $50 player. So 55 to me is much too steep. Maybe I should be more player agnostic here. That's one of the things I talk about. You know, like Devon H.A., maybe we'll throw 51 out there. Okay, 52. I don't really want to buy Achane for 52. We budgeted 56. There's a lot of good running backs left. What if James Cook goes for 53? You know, I'd probably rather have him. Saquon Barkley has been going for 48. Kenneth Walker, there's guys out there that we can still have that we don't have to pay these overinflated prices right now. All right, JSN at 65. I think we're going to offer 66 because that's only $3 over our wide receiver 1 budget, and we need to make a play on a wide receiver here. Justin Jefferson, like I said, is the last guy in the tier. He might get shot up, but maybe we go Smith and Jigba for 66, and then we get Jefferson for 54, and we're even. So there we go. JSN picked up for 66. So again, that's a little bit more expensive than we wanted to go, but we get the job done. We get our wide receiver 1. So the first step of the 3-man army strategy is complete, and Jackson Smith and Jigba is our wide receiver 1. Now the question is, what other wide receiver 1 could we pair him with? And could we potentially maybe grab 2 running backs here instead of doing another wide receiver and get a cheaper wide receiver? Let's see. So James Cook already to 58. Already to 60. So James Cook is off our board. Again, we just overspent on our wide receiver 1. Granted, only slightly. Like I said, we can easily nudge that down and say we're only going to spend $54 on wide receiver 2. I got no problems with that. Let's see. Saquon Barkley is up. What's he going to go to? 55 to 50. All right, so let's go 57 for Saquon. See if we can potentially get him there. That's only $1 over. Then we can go down to $53 for our wide receiver 2 and be okay. So let's see. That would be probably Justin Jefferson. Looks like we're going to get Saquon here. And there is number 2 of our 3-man army. So right now we got JSN, Saquon Barkley, and we're looking to get that third piece of the puzzle here. So we do need to cut down on some spending. That's no problem. We're only $1 off a budget right now. That's really good. I mean, we go down to $53 on wide receiver 2. Brock Bowers goes off the board. So now we have a $66 wide receiver 1 already locked in, a $57 running back 1, and now we can go to 53. And Gentry's at 51. So this is potential. I think we might pivot this strategy entirely if we don't get Justin Jefferson. Because I don't really want to spend $57 on Nico Collins, George Pickens, when I could buy another running back. So it'd be super interesting, but we need to get Justin Jefferson nominated so we can see if that's going to be truthful or not, because now we're losing opportunities on these running backs because they're getting nominated. So that's another thing you have to think about. Like, are you going to switch your strategy right on the fly based on these nominations? Because I don't want to spend $53 on Drake London, Nico Collins, George Pickens, and Chase Brown is going up too. And we have the next nomination. So we are going to get Justin Jefferson up, but we're missing out on a huge run of running backs. I mean, we've just seen Walker, Genty come off the board, and now we're going to see Chase Brown go. So we just missed out on 3 running backs being indecisive, basically, because we're trying to get Justin Jefferson. And if he ends up going way more than we thought, we don't really have an answer for that, you know? So Justin Jefferson, we're going to put him up, nominate him for $1, see what he jumps to. There he goes to 47. So we're going to go for this. This is $53 that we can spend on Justin Jefferson. So we'll go to 50. And then if somebody else goes to 51, we're going straight to 53. And we're going to 53. Boom, the $2 jump there. So that was our max because we went to 52. Oh, we don't really have any money to cut at this point. So we can't really make a play on Justin Jefferson. We're going to go to 55, though, and we'll cut funds somewhere. We'll find the money. Wow, T really wants Justin Jefferson. All right. So we are going to have to pivot this strategy hardcore now. So we're going to flip-flop here. We're going to put $9 for our wide receiver 2, and we're going to put $53 for our RB2, and we're going after Omarion Hampton here. We're going after Omarion Hampton. If we don't get Omarion Hampton, then we're going to look at spending big money on Pickens, Brown, Neighbors. We'll basically go to whatever we want to go, and then we'll put all the extra money back into running back too. So this is being flexible in real time. And the only reason I'm able to be this flexible on this build is because I had it mapped out before, because I had the 176 allocated. All right, Omarion Hampton. So we can go to 53 here. This is probably the next guy, though, in this tier. So we're at 48. I mean, there's not a running back like him. Derrick Henry's kind of the closest thing. So we're going to 48. I mean, if we can get Omarion Hampton for 48, I would be stoked about that. That will actually let us open up this strategy really well. All right, so we get Omarion for 48. That is a nice buy right there. Now we have $5 extra to play with. So we're going to take $14 and put it towards our wide receiver too. Target a guy like Christian Watson, Emeka Egbuka, but this is too early. So again, this is too early for Emeka Egbuka. His price is going to go for more than you would think because there's all these good guys on the board. There's all this money in the room still. You can't put up a guy like Emeka Egbuka right now and think that you're going to get him for anywhere close to his projection. It's already at $21, $22. Like, these are nomination mistakes that you can easily make. If you're out on Emeka Egbuka and you put him up now, sure, you take a little bit of money out of the room compared to what it would get later. But if you don't have your build fully locked in, this is a tough call to make. And T has one player. So this is kind of the stuff we're talking about. T has Justin Jefferson for $56. You need to get your cornerstones of your strategy. So there's no reason to put up Emeka Egbuka, a mid-round kind of hype guy, here in the early stages. So make sure that you make good nominations. But because we've spent so much of our money, we're down to $29. I'm probably going to skip around here and just show you the rest of my picks because we don't have a whole lot of money left. So we'll fast forward through this part of the draft, and then we'll get back to you when I start making some picks again. All right, so tons of names have come off the board, but we're finally at a point where we can actually be active in this draft again a little bit. I mean, Steph Diggs comes up. Not sure what we're going to do there. Taking a look over here on the left side, though, I want you guys to see, like, A-Town, ton of money left. Absolute waste. There's no players that are even worth more than $10. Fill 11 spots, so what are you going to do? Buy 11 $10 players? Either that or you're going to end up with money left when you could have spent big money on an actual elite talent. Same thing with Tucker here. 4 players. Tucker has Burden, Cook, Breece Hall, and Colson Loveland. Could have spent more money and got better players, more elite players, because there are not a lot of elite players on this team. A-Town, I mean, Waddle, McConkey, Scatabo, McBride, and Stephon Diggs. So these are the things you got to be understanding, that when you get deeper into this draft, these prices are not that expensive. We're looking at guys who are going for 8, 6, 12, 6, 6. Like, you don't need a whole bunch of money for this part of the draft. Now, would I love to have more than $29? Yes. I don't know if I can recommend this strategy, but you do not need to save a ton of money going into this portion of the draft with $48 or, $36. Like, T's team, Justin Jefferson, Zay Flowers, Javonte Williams, Travis Etienne, Garrett Wilson. That's a pretty decent team. Again, there's only one star. Maybe you could have spent a little bit more and got some more star power. Don't overpay for Javonte Williams at 32 potentially. But those are options, that you have. So it's really about thinking it through. And so there's a lot of people who have spent, like JT, great team here. Josh Allen, Devontae Adams, Emeka Egbuka, Kyron Williams, Josh Jacobs, Brock Bauer, Parker Washington. Like, that is a good way to kind of spend your money. He didn't spend up for anybody crazy, but Bowers and Allen cost a lot of money. So this is a onesie-heavy build, and you still get 2 very startable running backs. You get 2 very startable wide receivers. Parker Washington is potentially going to be a solid flex if he continues his upward trajectory from the end of last year. So, I mean, that is a good way to spend your money if you want to do a balanced build. Again, we're doing something completely different to all that. We're just going to try to see who we can get here. Like, guys I'm targeting right now: Rome Odunze, Jameson Williams, Christian Watson. Here's our team at the moment. We've got JSN, Saquon, and Omarion Hampton. We need a second wide receiver here. I like Watson, Rome, or JMO here. None of them are particularly safe. I mean, that's why they go in this range, right? Like, you don't have high expectations for a lot of these guys. And then we need to find a $3 flex. That's going to be very difficult. $2 quarterback. there's just too much money in the room right now. So we're not going to get deals, and that's going to make this difficult. Like, that's going to make this very hard for us. So we'll have to see how we can play. But this is also a part of, if you're going to go for this 3-man army or a stars and scrubs and go heavy on 3, 4, 5 guys that are all like $40 ish, you're gonna have to pick out of the bargain bin when it gets into later stages of the draft. Ramondre Stevenson can make a very interesting flex for us, especially with Travion Henderson being injured. I actually like Rico Dowdle too. Jalen Warren made me think of Rico Dowdle there in Pittsburgh. Marvin Harrison Jr., not a terrible pickup for $3. Rome, $13. He's averaging 6. Burden's hurt, it's an interesting spot. Do we want to put all of our eggs into that basket? I don't think so. I'd rather wait for JMO and Christian Watson. There are still 2 other wide receivers that I'm willing to spend for. This would definitely be a place to bid for Rome, though. It's just hard because, like I said, there's a lot of money in the room. We're not going to get a good deal here because people didn't spend correctly at the start. And so that's one of the things that can sabotage you if you do go stars and scrubs. If you spend heavy at the start and people sit out, you are going to lose. A-Town is the absolute hammer here. $113, A-Town can have any player they want. Everybody else is very similar, And we're still sitting on 3 players. I mean, Jim has 4, Highest has 4. All right, Christian Watson, we'll go 13. So, see, I should have gone 14 there because that's my max. If somebody goes 14, I'm going to be in trouble. But we're going to go for Christian Watson here. Jameson Williams is probably going to go for close to this number, if not more, just because of the scarcity here of this wide receiver. I mean, the next wide receiver is Brian Thomas Jr. Not a lot of people who have faith in that. So there we go. Christian Watson is wide receiver 2. I will take all day. It's my nomination, so we need to go for a guy that we can potentially land here. So why don't we throw Marvin Harrison up for $1 and see if anybody is interested in that? Because we might be able to just grab Marvin Harrison for $1. And if so, I mean, that's just a bench guy. Like, that's just a free bench for $1. I'll take Marvin for $1. He was pretty good last year with Brissett before he kept getting injured. So it's a new coaching staff. It's a new regime, but this might be just a steal because nobody cares. Yeah, there we go. $1 for Marvin Harrison Jr. That's a decent guy to throw on your bench. He's not gonna be a world beater, but we're not looking for world beaters. If he plays like a $10 player, we got value out of that. And that's what matters here in a Stars and Scrubs build. We're trying to find $1, $2, $3 players that can play like $15, $20 players. Again, we can bid, but it's just not, isn't our plan, right? So like, even though we have the money, we have to know what we're doing with the money. And as I talked about earlier, that's what makes us so flexible, is because we know how we want to spend the money, so we can move the money around if we need to. All right, Ramondre, nope, straight to 5. Yeah, there's just a lot of money in the room still right now. I mean, you got T with $37, A-Town $105. I mean, A-Town is going to finish with well over $50 remaining because none of these players are going for $10. Look at the money in the room. 9, 15, 8, 11, 6, 15, 20, 37, 10, 23, 12. I mean, max bids here are like $5. Again, Jonathan Brooks might be a guy for a bench stash. Let's see. He goes straight to 4. We said we could budget 4 for flex, so we pull $1 from tight end or quarterback to get him probably. So, we might have to take a shot here. We'll do a last second. We'll see if we get Jonathan Brooks for $5. We'll pull $1 from tight end. We'll go with $1 tight end play. Or actually, we'll go with $1 quarterback play because I think there's some $1 quarterbacks. So there we go. Pick up Jonathan Brooks for $5. Again, don't love it, but I don't love a lot of these names for flex here. I guess let's put Dak up. See if we can get him for $1. I don't want to put Trevor Lawrence up because I do think he's going to get bid up. So yeah, we'll do Dak, and there we go. $4 from Tucker. So we'll just let that. We'll just let that go. That's probably more than Dak should go for, especially at this stage where money is really tight. So I'm totally fine letting that walk. I want to save my quarterback, the quarterback that I really want. I want to save that for my last nomination when I'm going to max out my budget, depending on how everything else falls. Because that's how I think I'm going to get my quarterback. Like, I don't want to put Kyler up and have somebody bid $2, or I don't want to put Mahomes up and somebody bid $2. Like, we want A-Town to fill up as many roster spots as possible. Same thing with T, because those are the two players and Tucker who are honestly hindering us from doing our strategy right now. So these are more things that you want to pay attention to. You want these people who have money to spend their money, fill up their roster spots. That way they can't beat you out for your late round sleepers. So like, I'm not putting up any of my sleepers. There goes Lawrence. See, he's already to $4. Like, I'm not putting up Casey Concepcion. I'm not putting up, Jackson Dart or Matthew Golden. I mean, Ricky Pearsall, the fact that he's still getting drafted for $1 is kind of crazy. All right, so we're putting Travis Kelce up for $2 here. A lot of other names have gone off the board. Because we don't have a ton of money, we've just been kind of waiting around. So our nomination comes up. Goddard is already gone. There's not a lot of tight ends I love. So my goal here is to potentially get Kelce for 2, which it looks like we're going to do. There we go. And then maybe stack him with Patrick Mahomes. You don't have to stack at all. It doesn't really help you in season-long managed leagues. It's much more useful in best ball. But if we can get Mahomes for $1 and stack him with Kelce, I mean, every time they connect for a touchdown, that's 10 points. Like, we'll take it. Hoping that Mahomes kind of returns to form this year, especially coming back from the injuries. But it's just been a lot of people who have put players up for $2 or $3 that we can't touch right now. Now we're down to $1. So it looks like Kyler Murray is going to go off. He's one of my big sleepers, and people are paying up for him. So that makes me think that other people are potentially in on the Kyler Murray hype. I don't know how much hype there really is. It seems like a lot of people are down on him, but this is another player we're going to miss out on. And the good thing, though, is that T is buying players. T has $11 left, but 2 roster spots. So we need T to just close out with defense and kicker here. But look at that. So T left $9 on the board because they need a defense and a kicker. That's it. So they left $9 out there. Imagine what $9 could have done on some upgraded players here. Could have got a better, flex potentially. Spent a lot of money on the bench. Like, those are the things that you have to know your budget, because this is wasted money. You're going to spend $1 on a kicker and $1 on a defense. You had $9. That could have been the difference at wide receiver 2. That could have been like an AJ Brown or a Devonta Smith. And not waiting on Javonte Williams to get your running back. There's a lot of things that could have gone better here for T. Not that this isn't a solid team, but you can get a lot of star power out of these drafts if you're just willing to spend a little bit extra. How many people that $1 or $2 would have made a difference on in this draft, and you're stuck here at the end with $9 extra? That is a terrible way to spend your money. It's one of the cardinal sins of auction drafting. Having $11 left when you need a defense and a kicker. You don't need a $6 kicker. You don't need a $5 defense. That is a very, very bad budgeting mistake. And it definitely cost T on some of their players. And again, I'm not here to say that my build is fantastic. JSN, Christian Watson, Saquon Barkley, Omarion Hampton, Travis Kelce, Marvin Harrison Jr., along with Jonathan Brooks. I mean, this is definitely not my favorite team that I've ever drafted, but for this 3-man army thought experiment, it's definitely been something, that had me thinking we had to pivot and we had to be reacting on the fly in those early rounds. Not loving how this has turned out here at the end because of the lack of money and how the money was spent in the room. As you can see, I mean, everyone's pretty much got $1 at this point except for A-Town. A-Town is just buying players up at this point, but A-Town with a horrible draft. I mean, if T made the cardinal sin, A-Town has absolutely flubbed their entire draft. $92 left over is criminal. To get Jalen Hurts, Jalen Waddle, Lad McConkey, Cam Scatterby, Rico Dowdle, Trey McBride, Stephon Diggs, BTJ, Josh Downs, Mark Andrews, and they're going to pick up Chuba Hubbard here for $1, it looks like. But there is not a single first-round pick on this team, and you have $91 left over. That is just terrible money management. Let's put up Jordan Love, see if he goes for $2. Yes, Tucker is getting in there. So we were unable to get Jordan Love. Looks like Patrick Mahomes is going to have to be our target, but if somebody else nominates him, we're going to miss out. Really, we've done this whole thing. It hasn't even been an hour yet, and we're almost done with this draft. So For those of you who say that auction drafts take a really long time, it's really not that bad. And I love the interactive nature of it. I hate sitting there in a snake draft and waiting and waiting and waiting for my turn because nobody else's picks matter to me. So having the opportunity to be involved and see how everybody's spending their money and how that affects the room, to me, is just an awesome feature. And so T is done. 15 players, $7 left over. Again, really bad draft there by T. Really bad draft by A-Town. Again, we didn't have the greatest draft because we went for this crazy strategy. But there was value to be had in this draft. And I mean, I think we had to spend a little bit more than we wanted to. 66 for JSN does not feel like a great price at all, especially because you had Puka for 68, Monroe for 66. I mean, George Pickens only went for 37. That's a guy that we potentially could have had. Nico Collins went for 41. Jefferson went for 56. So yeah, I mean, Chase went for 68. So super interesting draft room, and again, the way we played it out here, could have potentially done things differently if we weren't trying out this 3-man army. But I think the consensus here is that the 3-man army build is very high risk, and I don't know if we got the rewards that we're looking for. We'll take a look at the team at the end, and you guys will let me know what you think of it. All right, so we put up Patrick Mahomes for $1. There's only 2 people with max bids of more than $1, which is A-Town and Tucker. So I don't think we're going to get bid up here, but really that's what we're waiting for, is just these guys to spend their freaking money. So this draft will speed up and move along, and it'll basically just be a snake draft. All right, so we're just waiting for guys to be bought here, but this is basically the final team. So Patrick Mahomes for $1, JSN for 66, Christian Watson for 13, Saquon for 57, Omarion Hampton for 48, Kelce for $2, Marvin Harrison Jr. for $1, Jonathan Brooks for 5, Malik Willis for 1, and Romeo Doubs for 1. We got 3 more bench spots, but we're not really worried about that. We wanted to come in here and see what it would be like if we spent $176 on 3 players. We did that and got JSN, Saquon Barkley, and Omarion Hampton. Super interesting build. I don't think I would have rocked with this in a real competitive league. There's a lot to be desired here throughout the spots, but it's also not that bad. We definitely have 2 star running backs and a star wide receiver. If Christian Watson keeps on that upward trajectory that we saw at the end of last year, he could be a big steal for just $13. So super interesting build. Let me know down in the comments below what you think of this team. If everybody stays healthy, is this team making it to the fantasy championships? I'm going to say probably not, but you never know what can happen. Of course, it's a long season. So thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you're new to the channel and love auction draft content. That's all my channel is about here, talking about auction drafts. So if you enjoy that type of stuff, please do give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. Check out some of the shorts that we've posted as well, talking about some of the key mistakes that people make in auction drafts. But thank you, everyone, and we'll see you shortly for another video.